It is another race, and it is another week here in the iRacing Stock Car Association. We have kicked things over from the East Coast over in Tennessee all the way over to the West Coast, Las Vegas, Nevada, getting ready to go racing here in Sin City for the NetServ 200 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Hello, one and all race fans that might be happening to join us tonight, and welcome to another night of Thursday night NASCAR racing. My name is Nola Rempel, joined tonight by Al Kozlowski for round number 2 for the 4th season of 2020. Al, it was a very thrilling start to the season, of course, over at Bristol Motor Speedway. The season opener, a bit of an unusual season opener at that. No doubt that these drivers are getting set to go for what's going to be, no doubt, probably a longer one. Definitely a race where thinking ahead might be key here.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to see the action we did last week. There's not going to be half as many cautions. We're going to see some good speed and some good loose activity during the first probably 10 or 15 laps of every green tire run. Las Vegas is a really easy track. However, the low line could fool you. One minute you're driving it and you're thinking you've got all the traction in the world, and the next thing you know, you're sliding up into the car on the high line. So we ought to see some pretty good racing and some pretty competitive racing as we do week after week. Trying to get down here and see if I can get a hold of some of the winners from last week. Trying to see if maybe I can get a hold of James Mullins. Let's see if we can get race control to maybe bring James Mullins up to the broadcast booth for us here.
And while we are waiting to see if Mr. Mullins will come on and give us a little bit of a chit-chat, let's go over a couple of the race facts for tonight's race. Of course, NetServ Technologies, the company sponsoring tonight's production here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway over on the West Coast in Las Vegas, Nevada. 134 laps the race distance today. Drivers are limited to 3 tire sets, which means drivers will be limited to 2 tire changes over the course of the race. Field win predicted to be about 59 laps. While we're letting you take a look at that, I'll go over the weather for the race as well. It's right now 67 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 95 down to the track. So not the hottest track in the world. Winds very calm, only 5 miles an hour, blowing up to the north with 20% of humidity in the air today.
All right, I think I'm going to get James Mullins out on the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4.
James, we talked to you last week in Winner's Circle, and we're at Vegas, a whole different animal. Give us a little insight on how you feel like you're going to do tonight.
I feel like I got a pretty good chance to get the win if everything goes my way.
All right, we're seeing some competitors out here. Have you been out on the track yet and laid any rubber down?
Yeah, I've got quite a few, maybe not in this server, but in this race, but I've had quite a few laps this week.
I got you. Anybody on the track right now you feel like is your biggest competition?
Well, I mean, Boyd and his boys are going to be pretty tough this week, and I'm quite sure there'll be a couple, to surprise you this week.
I got you. Any secrets of the success for this track?
I just put time in, man, and just learning the line. I did the first race this week. I was running the bottom lane. I think you're really going to have to run the third and the middle groove in 1 and 2. So I think that's where everybody's going to be.
Well, if you would you mind taking us around this track if we go in car with you right quick?
No, I don't care.
Okay, we're going to go in car with you right quick, and you take us a lap around this track and kind of tell us where you feel like we're going to see the most action.
You're going to see action all over the track, especially the first, 15, 20, 25 laps, because all the cars are going to be tucked up together anyways. The draft is so strong here, so it'll take quite a few laps to get the tires worn down, get some separation. But it's fairly easy. You're going to be running wide open for 10 to 15 laps, however you like to do it. Some people like to run hard every lap. I tend to just like chill. I actually got my qualifying set up in here right now, so we'll just do a qualifying run here. I didn't know. I was just getting ready for qualifying.
Yeah, we're just kind of sitting in your passenger seat, just riding right along with you. So you kind of tell us what you kind of feel like car doing and all that stuff.
Well, the car's definitely on edge, so that's the only way you're going to be able to get good long run speed out of it. You got to have to be loose.
So it's a lot of left and right in these corners. Looks like you're pretty stable in those corners, though.
Yeah, well, that's my qualifying setup. I was getting ready for qualifying, and it's a little loose in 1 and 2. You got to really 1 and 2. You got to run the bottom for your qualifying lap. But in the race, I really think everybody's going to be in the top lane. That's really the only place you're going to save a good amount of tires.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that low line for you right now is working good, but I highly doubt it's going to be. You must be going into qualifying now.
Yep.
Okay, James, I will let you get on the race. I appreciate you taking the time with us right quick here. If you want to go ahead and meet back up with your team, maybe we'll talk to you later on in Victory Lane.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate all you guys over here.
Appreciate you, James. Good luck tonight, bud. Stay safe. And that was our last week's winner as we took a lap or two around the track with him, and we kind of seen a little bit of what these guys are going to go through tonight. Nolan, any thoughts on that? Is this an exciting track for you to watch, or?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I actually haven't watched too many races here, so I guess it's too soon for me to judge. I've seen my fair share of races, both thrilling and boring, of course, here, so this race can really go either way. You know, this track can be, of course, very, very up and down. Qualifying, of course, underway now, and this could be very, very important at a track like this where dirty air can play into a massive factor, especially on the corner entry when it comes to maintaining that momentum through the center of the corners.
Yeah, as we heard from James, there's a lot of drafting going to go on here, and the draft could play evil tricks on you. I mean, if you're not front there, you probably are going to have a lot of ducking and dodging to do as these drivers get really loose. I can't wait. I wish qualifying was done 20 minutes ago, and we were running green right now because I can't wait to see what's going to happen during this race. As qualifying goes, so far it looks like Jay Felton is on the leader here with a 29.547 qualifying lap. But we have just got 3 cars qualifying thus far, so it's not going to tell much. We're going to have a field of approximately, it looks like maybe 30 cars tonight.
Yeah, somewhere thereabouts. And, well, the good news is, Al, you won't have to wait for too much long before we get going green flag racing. 10 and love. Check that. Justin Levine has just topped the boards with a 29.287, so it would appear that Justin Levine is ready to go to the top of the boards with a time that is about almost 0.2 quicker than the fastest time set in the practice session. The slowest of the times right now set by James Bailey.
James Mullins, and he just dropped to 29.256, Nolan.
Well, there you have it. So your current points leader by just 6 points, keep in mind, 48 points compared to David Gerval's 42, up on the top of the boards right now. So Mullins might be looking to go for 2 for 2 here.
Well, I've been in a race, and I know this guy is going to drop a 29 low, a 29.1 at least, because I was in a race with this guy earlier this week, and I seen a qualifying lap that dropped my jaw, and that's going to be Boyd Hogan in that 81. If he drops a qualifying lap, anything shyer, anything north of 29.1, I would be shocked. So watch for that Boyd Hogan to drop his qualifying lap.
Well, he's jotting stuff out turn 4 right now on that first and opening lap. So we'll have to see what this time is going to be. It's going to be a 29.785, so no shattering records just yet. Of course, now he's on his second lap. The tires are a lot more warmed up. He's got a lot more performance in the car. He was running the top line on his first lap. Now in the second lap, he's running the bottom, pushing all the way up just about to the wall, down the back straightaway, and he's going to be looking to hook it down right and stick it on the apron through 3 and 4.
Let's see what he comes across the line at here.
Across the start-finish line, that is going to be a 29.271. So close, but no cigar.
What a disappointment. He the winds must be pushing against him there. I have seen that 29.1 come out of that car right there with that driver behind it, but it looks like he's going to be hard to beat James Mullins. James Mullins has knocked it out of the park with a 29.256, but we still have a handful of drivers that are qualifying here yet. We still got a bunch of them that could jump up here and knock out a 29.2 flat, which is not impossible.
Certainly not impossible, certainly not unheard of either. Looks like it's going to be about 34 cars right now that are signed up to take the grid. Only 24 thus far have set laps. We got about 10 more drivers that have yet to set laps, and they've only got about 45 seconds left to do so. So not a lot of time for these drivers further down the order to get those laps in. At this point in time, if you're leaving the pits, you're only going to have time for 1 lap, if that.
Yeah, so most definitely that's going to be hard to beat because your first lap is always going to be the slowest of the 2 qualifying laps that you put out. So it looks kind of like, unless there's a miracle goes on here, our leader to win this or to start this race is going to be the 6 car of James Mullins with a 29.256.
Hogan still holding that second position. Justin Levine not able to improve on his time. He's still sitting in third with a 287. So about the top 4 separated by less than a tenth of a second. So very, very tight field up there in the top 5.
Kind of disappointed. I was hoping to see what Chris Severa in that 01 car was going to lay down. He's got a pretty stout setup this week too, I believe. I believe he was competitive in there, and maybe he's going to save his engine for the race. Yeah. So let's keep an eye on I usually try to pick a winner here. So let me just draw out of the hat this week and say I'm going to guess that this week's winner, I'm going to pull for Eric Kling in the 52 car this week.
So the 52 car, your vote to win for this race. I'm going to go with anybody starting within that top 5, particularly Mullins. He is on the pole. We'll have to see if he'll be able to stay there. Well, while we're waiting now for the cars to grid on up before this thing starts, let's go on through your starting grid, shall we?
Well, we're running through the top 5 as soon as we get the national anthem done. Hold on one.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare.
Driver, start your engine!
And welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The words from the Grand Marshal have been delivered. So let's run on through your starting grid for today's 134-lap race. James Mullins on the pole position with Boyd Hogan beside him in that first row. It's Justin Levine and Tanner Love, third and fourth. Curtis Sawyer rounds out the top 5 with Brian Johnson down in 6th place. Jay Felton in 7th. Mike Eames in 8th. Round out the top 10 here, Al. It's Steven West and Andrew Melvin.
All All right, coming in 11th will be Craig Johnson. 12th is Chris Johnson. 13th is Michael Knight, and my pick to win the race in that 52, Eric Kling starts this race in 14th. 15th will be Mark Love. 16th, Donnie Gatton Jr. 17th, Tyler Smith. 18th, Kenny Powell. 19th, Wayne Grass. And we got the top 20 will be Jeffrey Smith. I'm sorry, in the 96 car.
Then in 21st place is going to be Ron Hollifield. 22nd place with Michael Doyle. 23rd, Brian Hubble. 24th, Jaden Profit. 25th place, John Mullins. 26th place, James Colaballi. 27th place is going to be David Gervals. 28th place, Clifton Cockrell. 29th, Tyler Pluff, with 30th place being taken up by Matt Hornbuckle. 31st place will be Al Kozlowski. Paul Olson in 32nd, and Cecile Keith in 33rd.
Nolan, I'm sitting right next to you, bud. I'm not in
That's
this
true,
race.
you aren't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, that's my mini-me that's out there running around the track giving out water.
Of course, Chris Severa was scheduled to start 27th place as well. He is our dedicated race controller for the race, though. Anyways, final words as they exit off turn 4. We prepare to go green.
All I can say is hold on, buckle up, pull that 5-point harness tight, because it's race night. Here we go.
It is all in the hands of James Mullen. We continue to go waiting. He's getting on the loud pedal right about now. Green flag in the air in Sin City. And ladies and gentlemen, the NetServ 200 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway is underway as the field thunders to turn number 1.
Watch Jay Felton in that 8 car. He is on the low line there, and he's going to try to get the Tanner Loves inside, and he doesn't quite make it. He's there, but barely there. Battling side by side for the lead, and it does look like Boyd Hogan's got a slight drafting advantage over James Mullins as he now takes the lead.
Indeed, so Justin Levine up into first place early on, and now James Mullins under fire for the 3rd position, as well as Boyd Hogan up the inside in turn number 2. The question is, can he get the move done? Not quite. The momentum is all in the top line as Mullins clears for 2nd place around the outside into turn 3.
Yeah, Justin Levine, he laid back there quite a bit, and he said, guys, I'm going to come up here and lead this thing, and he pulled right out there, and he's got James Mullins right there going to shoot on the inside here. And
so James Mullins now trying to look on the inside for the race lead. That didn't work so well for Hogan when he was trying to go for 2nd place off the corner. Might work better, though, for Mullins because he is in a bit more clean air. He's got the momentum through 3 and 4 along the bottom lane, but how will this pay off for him on the eggs? Because that 19 car really hounding the door, trying to keep him down on that white line.
it looks like Boyd Hogan in that 81 car, he just doesn't know what lane he wants. He's going low line, high line, low line, high line. He's just trying everything. Maybe he's just trying to warm those tires up a little bit so he can get some competition. But he better watch his rear view mirror, because here comes that 10 car. Curtis Sawyer is right behind him.
Hey, sometimes you need to do a little bit of experimentation in order to try to find what works for you, but you got to find it quickly, because you're absolutely right. Curtis Sawyer is no doubt not going to be wanting to sit behind in the wings of Boyd Hogan for very long. He's going to be looking to get away through. They're still side by side for the race lead up in front, by the way.
That is a feat of itself, a miracle. Those guys are matched, almost identical. There is 1/1000th of a second, not now, but a minute ago, and here we are, back to 1/1000th of a second difference between those two. That's how closely rated they are here. Now, Nolan, do you show Curtis Sawyer in the 10 car or the 9 car on your screen?
Well, right now, he's got the number 9. He's officially scored his car number 10, so we'll have to see. It's officially scoring him as car number 10, but he does have the number 9 on his car, so we'll have to see what that's going to mean later on in the race.
I thought maybe I added a number to his car or took away a number. I see that he is racing this, and he's supposed to be car number 10, but hey, he's showing his paint scheme's got a 9 on it, so I just didn't. We're probably going to need to know that in the future here. Deeper in the field, let's see what. Let's watch this view from Michael Knight. He's sitting back there in 8th, and he's kind of watching all the battling going on in front of him.
as we continue to ride on board with Mike Knight, it is notable as well that the top 18 have started to break away from that second pass. We got about 2 fields forming. It got first down to 18th and then, well, 19th all the way back. And then you do have very lonely Brian Johnson running on his lonesome down in 32nd place. Apart from that, though, it is looking to be a very, very fierce fight still, as we still have side-by-side battling all over, up and down throughout the field. I would like to kind of turn our attention back up to that lead group between Justin Levine and James Mullins, because they are still side-by-side for the race lead, and even they now are starting to break from the main field, and it looks like Boyd Hogan is trying to break away as well. So you got about the top 3 breakaway, and then everybody else filing up behind them. But the fact that these drivers have been side-by-side just about every lap from the drop of the green flag is really, really impressive. But Mullins has got to be very, very careful here, because if he stays on that bottom line too much, he's going to burn his tires up real quick, which is definitely not something you want to be doing early on when you only got 2 more sets of tires that you can use throughout the race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to burn up the right sides. The left sides won't take as much heat in them and build up as fast, but you're definitely going to eat those up. So I think we're going to watch. James is probably either going to give it up to Justin here in a little bit and cool off his tires, but he can't really give that too much, because Boyd Hogan, he's back here like a cat wants to eat the canary. He's waiting for one of these guys to make a mistake in front of him, and he's gonna pounce.
You saw just how close they ran together over through turns 1 and 2, and it just goes to show you how precise these drivers are being right now. The slightest of mistake, the slightest of contact can send you around, and that could result in a massive pileup. And it looks like Levine's has given up in his crusade for the race lead. It looks like James Mullins might have held it for now, but here comes Levine's again, trying the outside line, because he knows that's where he wants to be if he wants to make this move stick. Right now, though, it looks like Mullins will have that race lead held for now, so that battle for the lead is going to come off a bit here.
Yeah, you might be seeing the 19 of Justin Levine. He's letting those tires cool off a bit, because he definitely looks like he's stronger on the high line. We've seen it for the last 10 laps, running side by side with James Mullins. But he's kind of thinking to himself, James has used up his equipment for 12 laps by trying to get the lead. He'll let him have it. He's not going to keep it for long. As I can imagine, we're going to see Justin Levine getting up into the mix of this again. He's definitely not going to let Boyd Hogan get around him.
If I may, I'd like to also turn our attention a little bit further down the field. Let's go to the battle for what is about the 10th place right now between Eric Kling and, well, right now it's actually going to be Stephen West in the 74 car. That's just escalated into a battle for 8th place, as Kling is continuing to try to work his way up through the order. He just cleared for 10th in the middle of 3 and 4, and now he's trying to make a run to the 74 car, and in fact, he only puts him into the wall down the front straightaway.
Yeah, they're battling pretty bad. That's a most definitely more exciting battle in the back end here than it is in front there. And it looks like Tyler Smith in that 22 car is going to go to the outside of Eric, or try to go on the outside. And that is quite a paint scheme that Tyler Smith's got on that 22 machine tonight.
Certainly is, you know, the very good old adage of just do it. Of course, a very, very famous one, and one that has certainly really kind of gotten into the heart of internet culture as the years have gone on. But he's certainly just doing it right now as he's trying to go up the inside of Eric Kling. No momentum whatsoever in the exit of the corner. Look at how far he's dropping him back. He's now thrown.
It's contact with the 40 car. Boy, I thought Mark Love in that 30 was going around there. I thought he was in trouble.
Oh, he was certainly going around all right. That car wrestled right from the wall all the way down to the white line. A fantastic job to hang on to that from Mark Love, as now he's finding himself in a battle with Andrew Melvin side by side over here in the battle for 12th place. He's going to get that spot resecured pretty easily now, but all of a sudden, Mark Love has got some ground to make up.
I'm going back up, and I'm going to watch a 52 of Eric Kling as he's trying to catch the 68 machine of Michael Knight. He's now gained 9th position. Tyler Smith has gave up the battle, and he's going to move back in line here and just try to cool off his tires and maybe take another swing at Eric Kling and see if he can get a hold of him. But it looks like we're wanting to go 3 wide up here with Jay Felton, Curtis Sawyer, and Tanner Love. As Stephen West in a 74 machine says, I'll join you guys.
And it looks like one car managed to break free. That was Curtis Sawyer that just barely managed to break free. Justin Levine, not so much. He's got Jay Felton really hounding the left rear quarter panel of that Toyota Camry stock car and manages to clear it down the front straightaway going into turn number 1. So that's good for Levine, who's kind of running the middle groove right now. Looks like he might be trying to follow the number 9 car up. The 9 car had to lift off a little bit to avoid glancing off the wall, but it's a 4-car train right now, all in the mix of the battle for 4th place.
Well, you can remember, we were looking at Justin Levine up there racing with the leader earlier. He might have used his equipment up because now he is back in 5th spot. Boyd Hogan took 2nd, Tanner Love took 3rd, and then Curtis Sawyer in the 10 machine or the 9 machine, I don't know whatever number we want to use for him, he did have the 3rd spot.
Jay Felton is going to go up the inside of Curtis Sawyer as well, trying to capitalize on a bit of a run-wide situation. Levine trying to pinch Felton down to the apron. Didn't quite work out for Levine because Felton has got the nose in there. Question is going to be, can Felton capitalize through the tri-oval and in the run down to turn number 1? Does not look like he'll be able to. Levine might be able to just barely hang on to that spot if he could get a good drive around the outside here.
And Eric Kling looks like he's going to go to the inside of the 10 car, which you see on your screen to be the 9 car, and try to get that position away and move himself from 8th up to 7th. And back into the mix, here comes Mark Loeb again in that 30 machine. He's like, I didn't make it successful the first time. I'm going to go 3 wide this time and see if I can't make this pass count.
So 3 wide down the front straightaway. Love below that white line. Did not manage to get any spots going into the turn number 1. Curtis Sawyer cleared around the outside. So it's side by side now, just outside this, just outside for 8th place. And Eric Kling really struggling, almost slapping the wall in the middle of the backstretch. Not something you see all too often. Mark Love looks like he'll be able to clear around the inside. Will Kling try to go for the over-under, though? Doesn't look like he'll have the momentum to do so.
No, but it does look like Mark Love is extremely loose. His car is wobbling all over the place. So here we go, battling again. It's got Eric Kling's going to go to the inside. He does not like that high side at all.
Oh, he's lost the back end as well, just a little bit through turn number 2. Barely manages to hang on to it, but that car really shot out from underneath him. So the 52 car seems like he's struggling for traction a little bit now as well, now that the performance of the fresher tires is starting to wear down.
Yeah, we've got 23 laps on these tires right now, and these drivers are feeling it, and we have got a long way to go. And definitely, if you wreck, it's a short time to get there. So they need to calm it down a little bit here and just get comfortable where they're at and calm it down. Otherwise, they're going to meet that wall by accident or take out another driver. Let's go deeper in the field, see if we have any action going back here. Let's try to see what's going on with Andrew Melvin in the 37 machine. It looks like Andrew's watching Mike Eames in the 3 machine try to get around Tyler Pluff.
Yes, indeed. So, looks like there's also actually been a pass for the lead as well. Boyd Hogan has made a pass around James Mullins up front. I would like to turn attention further up front to get a look at that if we could. From the sounds of it over the driver radio, Mullins had a bit of a bounce off the apron, got loose, and had to give up the position himself.
Well, I mean, Boyd Hogan, I told you that's a cat that ate the canary. He's sitting back there just waiting for that bird cage to open, and he swallowed Mullins. But that doesn't mean Mullins' race is over. He's just going to regroup and figure out how to get past him again. And we're probably going to see about 5 laps Mullins to take that lead back from Boyd Hogan. Unless he used up his material. He was racing Justin Levine, who's now moved himself back up into the 4th position. And they were racing side by side, which cannot be good on either one of their tires.
No, absolutely not. And you got to keep in mind, though, from Mullins, this could also actually be good for him because this means that when he's running behind Hogan in the draft, it does allow him to save a little bit of fuel as well and go a little bit longer on that fuel run. Remember, it was an estimated 59 laps of fuel in the clean air. He could probably stretch that out to about 61 or so running in the draft.
Yeah, but he's going to want to pit with a partner. I mean, you don't want to come out of this and not have a dance partner. I mean, you'll be left way behind, especially if you draft with the wrong dance partner. Somebody wants to lead to the left and you want to lead to the right, your dance is going to be ruined. So he's going to probably want to follow in the drivers that he's most comfortable with. And right now, it looks like he's really comfortable racing with Boyd Hogan and Justin Levine. So he's probably going to go in when he hears they're going to go in.
And it looks like we might want to turn our eyes back to the 37 as Andrew Melvin is right now in a big battle with Mike Eaves. And this is the battle for 11th place on the racetrack right now as Melvin's still duking it out side by side. You got Tyler Smith in the mix as well, trying to find his way up to the inside, and he might try to capitalize here on the number 3 car running wide. Has been a bit of a great run for a couple of these drivers, especially for guys like the likes of Mike Love, who's up 8 spots where he started. Tyler Smith himself is up 5 spots where he started in the race as well. The biggest mover so far, Tyler Pluff, who's right now running 20th place. He's up 10 spots from where he started in the race. So a couple of drivers certainly have been on the move early on in this race.
We watched this. We watched a 30 car, Mark Love, do this trick before. He got all the way up in the beginning, top 5 of this, and something happened that pushed him in the back of this thing. So he's great at getting up front, staying up there. We'll see.
Mark Love, of course, up 8 spots in the 7th position right now overall. And Mark Love, of course, started 15th on the grid. So this has certainly been a good run for him. He's right now leading this. He's right now kind of leading the zone train in a battle with Curtis Sawyer. It does appear like one of these drivers, Chris Johnson, had a big slap with the wall off of turn at number 4. I don't know if we want to get another look at that, but he just pushed a bit too wide on the exit. Body slammed that wall with the right side of his car, lost a ton of spots.
As long as it's not the front end of his car, it will be just fine. No air is being pushed on the side of this car. It's not really a side draft track. I mean, there's not enough long straightaways to get that side draft ability off of it. But as long as he does not have any damage to the front of his car, he should be just fine, and he'll regroup from that. We're watching Wayne Grassi, who was pretty fast in practice. He's battling, trying to keep the 5 car of David Gervais behind him as David goes on the high side. And it looks like David might get enough momentum to get around him. And sneaking right behind them is Craig Johnson in the Tyler Pluff. Tyler Pluff, our scoring sheet, has got these guys all mixed up.
Yep, Tyler Pluff now up 12 spots from where he started earlier today, down in the 30th position. He's going to pick up another one this time around, Wayne Grassi. So that 21 car is most certainly on the move.
We'll definitely see some big movers and shakers here, but we're going to see pit stops in about 15 laps. I'm going to guess about 45 to 48 laps is where we're going to see these guys start heading down, getting some fuel and some fresh rubber.
Battle for 8th place starting to heat up as well between Mark Love and Curtis Sawyer. Love just made a bit of a bold move onto the white line despite Sawyer trying to push him almost into the grass down the front straightaway. Did not quite work out for Love, though, as he has right now been forced to file back in behind Sawyer, who's been really aggressive on that outside lane down the back straightaway and trying to regain that spot.
We're watching the battle up here again. It's James Mullins kind of snuck up there, and he's right on the tail feathers of Boyd Hogan. And it took a little longer than I thought. It might be that James is thinking to himself, well, I'll stay with you and see if we can't shake Tanner Love. But Tanner Love's not leaving him. I mean, he's not even 0.8 of a second behind him. So he's kind of staying back there and thinking to himself, if these guys in front of me can just meet by accident, I can take the lead of this thing. He doesn't want to push his machine too much because he'll know that he'll heat those tires up and he'll meet that wall by accident, as some of these other drivers have already done.
Now, keeping eyes on this battle, of course, you have to keep in mind that there is lap traffic not too far up the road. In fact, they are closing in on Brian Hubble in the number 13 machine, who has some damage on the right front of that car and about 1.5 seconds a lap slower than these drivers behind. So it seems like Hubble has had some issues early on as well. Maybe slap the wall off of one of these corners is a very easy thing to do, but he's losing a lot of time. But these cars, they are gaining on him at a very, very rapid pace.
Yeah,
So
we're watching lap times with Brian Hubble back here in the 20 or 32nd position. He's running lap times about 32.7 when the leaders are running about 29, 31, 31 sevens. So he's a whole almost a second off here.
And it looks like Hogan is going to try to get up the inside now on the back straightaway. Had to lift off a little bit, though. That's going to really cost him in this fight with James Mullins, as that allows Mullins to close right up to the back of him.
That puts our first car a lap down at lap 36, and that's going to be Brian Hubble in a 13 machine. It's the first car a lap down. Second one, or the next one to go a lap down, if they can make it to him, will be Michael Doyle in a 12 machine.
Should note as well that we are still getting ever closer to that first green flag pit window as this race goes on, and it would be the first green flag stop all season thus far. Of course, only one race run, that was of course in Bristol, Tennessee at Bristol Motor Speedway, but I'll tell you what, this has certainly been a good race for now, and if they can keep it like this, looks like we'll be seeing some green flag stops here real shortly.
Yeah, they definitely it'll definitely be interesting. It definitely will be interesting. It looks like 37 Andrew Melvin, he's kind of caught back up with Eric Klung in that 52 machine. He wants 9th position. He's going to the inside, and it looks like he's got the momentum to get around. I think Eric's going to back up a little bit, say you may have it, because I am needing a pit stop or a caution right away.
Yeah, and in fact, Clay might be under fire now from Mike Ames if that number 3 car can get a good run here and catch on up to him. Clay might actually try to fight back, though, against Andrew Melvin. He is going to fight back against Melvin. So Eric Clay back up the inside into turn number 1, but forced to back off. He was starting to run a bit wide. That's certainly not good for him, but I'll tell you what, that was a bit of a risky one right there, trying to dive at the inside. It almost didn't work for him.
Nolan, if you'd have told me at the beginning of this race we were going to see folks going a lap down, I would have said you're crazy. But already we're seeing 2 cars a lap down, and that is a 12 machine of Michael Doyle and a 13 machine of Brian Hubble. They can get back on the lead lap. They've just got to make some changes to those cars. They must have some ill handling machines.
I know the damage on Hubble's car certainly is not helping things. Like I said, significant damage on the right front, so that will likely be hurting that aerodynamics on that car just a little bit more. Certainly might be impacting the steering as well, so that could be in part to what's going on there. Let's continue to keep our eyes here on this battle for 11th place as Eric Kling now trying to fend off Tyler Smith. He got Ron Hollifield just behind in the 90 machine as well, waiting in the wings to see if maybe he can pick up a spot as well. But right now, Kling's got that outside line secure with Tyler Smith.
Yeah, Eric is doing everything he can to stay in that 11th position. And he's got a whole bunch of eager people right behind him. He's got the 5 machine of David Gervais. He's got Ronnie Hollifield in the 90, Tyler Pluff in the 22. They all want to watch and see if Eric in the 52, is he going to make a mistake? But Eric in front of him, he's kind of looking like Mike Eames. You know, I'd like to get in that position. Andrew Melvin, I'd like to return the favor and try to get that position back from you. I'd like to get back in the top 10.
And you got to keep in mind as well that some cars, you know, they might even start pitting here, you know, maybe split this race 3 ways. So a couple of drivers might be looking to make this definitely a 2-stop race throughout this one. So we'll have to see what's going to take place with the pit strategy. It could be, you know, very, very crucial to a lot of drivers how this pit strategy is going to play out as this battle for the 11th position darts the way by Brian Hubble, who's just continuing to tank down the order.
And Michael Eames looks like he had a little bit of problems there keeping that car down. And that, no, is that the 13 machine? Who? These drivers have got numbers on their cars that do not match the numbers they were registered with. So it makes it kind of hard to broadcast this.
We got Wayne Grassi right now coming down the pit road in the number 7 machine, so the pit window very much open, and the number 7 car is going to be the first of what will no doubt be many takers. Bit of an undercut here for the number 7 car, the only driver to come down this lap. The question is, who's going to follow him as the race leaders themselves? They're saying now, so Grassi is going to go down the lap here.
Yeah, we're going to watch. History has told us that Boyd Hogan and James Mullins will race until somebody comes out with a gas can and throws it at them. They're not going to come in until they absolutely feel that car gurgling.
Meanwhile, behind them as well, a fierce battle for third place is underway between Tanner Love and Justin Levine. Levine just completed the pass at 1 and 2 for third place, and Tanner Love gave him a bit of a love tap down the back straightaway. One more car comes down to pit lane as well. That's the 16 car of Clifton Cockrell.
Yeah, I told you it'd be about 45 to 47 laps. These guys are starting to feel like they're driving on jello.
Yeah, no doubt, it's not a very pleasant feeling to be driving on, as the lap times have dropped by about 2 seconds from what we were seeing in both qualifying and practice for the fastest times of those sessions, respectively. So that definitely is the sign that it might be time to come on down. And this kind of brings out a bit of another, shall we say, complication with these pit stops, with drivers that are trying to, pit early and drivers that are trying to run it out as long as they can. Is when you get a driver on faster tires coming up real hot on cars that are a lot slower on the older tires, it can create for some very, very sketchy moments, and I've seen my fair share of accidents caused that way, so that will be something to watch out for as well on these very quick mile and a halves.
Yeah, because those guys coming off pit road right now that are lap down, the only thing they're thinking about is get in front of the leader, get back on the lead lap. So they're going to be shooting through this field and cutting through these guys like they're standing still, because they're going to have 2 second faster tires than these guys that didn't pit yet.
Indeed, so
there's quite a gap between Boyd Hogan and James Mullins now. They're kind of, maybe they're strategically planning on that pit.
Yeah, potentially could be trying to plan it out. Looking at the lap times as well, though, Hogan has been gradually quicker over the past few laps as well, so it does seem like maybe Mullins has burned up all his stuff. Remember, we talked about earlier when they were side by side for all that time, Mullins has got to be careful because he'll be using all his material up on the inside groove. Unlike Hogan, it looks like that's finally kicking in, as now Hogan is just continuing to grow the gap. Eric Kling has just made the call with the driver's radio. He's coming in this time.
And it looks like Boyd Hogan has got his eyes set on putting, I believe that's Donnie Gatton Jr. in the number 9 machine, a lap down, and that will put 5-6 drivers a lap down already, and we're only 50 laps in.
No doubt our timing screens are going to get a little bit wonky as well as this pit cycle starts to cycle through as more and more cars come on down to the lane. The question is, for these top two, when do they come down and pit? They can't afford to stay out for too long, because if they stay out for too long, then they're going to wind up in the real heap of trouble with potentially being put down quite a few spots unnecessarily, because cars on fresh tires will have made up a lot of ground on them, particularly this battle for 3rd and 4th place if they end up pitting in earlier.
Well, the bigger problem here, Nolan, is these leaders, they haven't really had much to race around, much traffic. If they don't pit soon, they're going to end up with a lot of cars that are on fresher tires that are going to be in their way, and they'll be in the midst of all this. And we've already seen these guys are racing for a position. How are they going to handle that traffic around them? They've been in clean air, maybe passing a car here and there with some clean passes, with some drivers giving them a little bit of leeway. How is it going to handle it if they're not going to give them that leeway?
Well, and we actually might be able to see that here in a little bit if they don't come on down soon, because you got Clifton Cockrell just behind your 2 race leaders now, and he's coming up on them in a hurry. He just passed Levine off of turn number 2, so he's going to be running these guys down very, very quickly. So we're about to see what's going to happen here. Will they give him the leeway, or will the 16 car feel the need for bumper up? Because technically, he is still trying to race for a position right now, because he's gaining quite a lot of time on these leaders on the racetrack right now, even if it's just for right now a net gain.
Yeah, he is coming through there, and he's not giving them anything. He kind of just shut the door right on James Mullins as Boyd Hogan gets around the 9 machine of Donnie Gatton Jr. Donnie gives him everything and courtesy, pulls it aside and lets him on by. But it looks like the 16 is going to come through, and he's going to take that position back and get right back on the lead lap. Now the 16 is 2 laps down, so he is getting back 1 lap as he goes past.
And this is actually going to compromise Hogan because he's pinned on the outside line on the entrance to the corner. Had to let off a bit more than he had to on the corner to make sure that they wouldn't be side by side going through. Cars are still continuing to come down to the lane as Matt Hornbuckle is down in pit road right now. And battle for third place is still heating up now as Tanner Love is getting a bit eager now, trying to find a way around Justin Levine.
We got to keep this in mind, Nolan, and a lot of these drivers are thinking about this. If they can get up there and they can race side by side with those leaders and keep them on the outside, that will prevent them from getting the ability to pit. And if they keep them out long enough, they run out of gas, their race is in trouble.
You know, it wouldn't be the first time that I've seen drivers push it just a little bit too long and run out of gas. In fact, it would sadly be probably about the 7th time I've seen it happen. In the very first race, I actually commentated even, I remember the race leader, he had about a 20-second lead, stayed out one lap too long, ran out of fuel while he was in pit road, went down 4 spots, never recovered. That's definitely a very crucial factor here for these drivers when they're thinking about, especially these top 2, is that fuel window. They're right now on the very, very edge of that fuel run. It's about 59 laps predicted is the fuel stint. They're running lap 58 right now.
Yeah, so if James Mullins could potentially get up there to the inside of Boyd Hogan and prevent him from getting onto pit road, he would have to stay out and he would run out of gas, and that would take his race win away. Any possibilities of winning is gone. So these guys need to strategize and figure, okay, you guys are faster, we're going to try to use a different strategy, and that would be my strategy. If I was them, I would go to the inside of Boyd Hogan and James Mullins and keep them from being able to pit.
So Boyd Hogan now running lap number 59. Will he take the risk and stay out one more time, or will he come on down now and play it safe? Now is really the time we're going to see this fuel strategy come into play. 70.
He's not going to come now. He's going to
just
push
called
it.
the pit. Mullins just made the call to come down to pit road, and he's coming in hot.
Yep. And that means let's watch Boyd Hogan and see if he runs out of gas. He's got no drafting partner. He could be a sitting duck. These faster cars that are on fresh tires could set him up for failure.
So crunch time for Boyd Hogan. He's going to make that decision quickly. When does he come down? He's now running longer than the estimated fuel window. He did run behind Mullins for some time.
He's going to come this time by. He's coming. No.
Oh,
He
maybe
tried.
not.
Oh. Well, I didn't know he was coming or going.
I think he didn't quite know either. He was really trying to debate it. They actually started to get on the throttle again and turn back out to the track, but came on down at the last minute. So Boyd Hogan is down here, and Tanner Love, should note, stayed out. Justin Levine is in. So now it's Tanner Love who's playing the risky game.
Yeah,
And he's just
gonna
making the call
pit
pit
this
road,
time,
too.
He can smell fuel. His pit crew came out and threw a gas can at him and said, "Get in here, you're gonna run out of fuel." He's gonna come in this time by. And he comes in really hot as he's trying to get Donnie Gatton Jr. is on the outside there, and he makes it clean.
And just like that, Boyd Hogan is out of pit road as well. Now, where is Mullins? He's just on the front straightaway now. So where will Mullins come out in relation to Hogan? He's just past Levine. Boyd Hogan right now running through turn 3 and 4. This might be tight here as Mullins is closed in rapidly down the back straightaway. There's Hogan just in front of him. Mullins going to go for the outside, and he is going to
shoot
take the
right
lead.
past. He's going to shoot right past him. And he's hoping, see, this time Boyd's hoping he can grab his draft. There was not enough momentum for Justin to get around it, or Mullins to get around him to keep him from catching his draft. And that's what he was hoping. If he could have broke that draft and Boyd Hogan wouldn't have caught his draft, he'd have been able to walk away from him.
And that is pit cycle number 1 complete. The first green flag pit cycle gone with no difficulties that we know of. So very clean start to what it should be one of many green flag pit stops throughout the season. And that has really split the entire field up by a significant margin too.
And I don't know, knowing if these drivers can make it from fuel right now. If they can make it to the end, if we have no caution, can they make it to the end?
they definitely have to make one more pit stop, at least for tires. There's no way their tires are going to last 70 more laps. And the fuel windows themselves, they're about 59 to 61 laps themselves. So absolutely not. With 71 laps remaining, no, they're not going to be able to make it again. They are going to have to come down one more time for this race. But from here on out, drivers should be able to make it on a one-stopper.
Well, Nolan, I'd like to say I agree with you. However, I've watched these drivers week after week after week, and seeing the professionalism of these drivers, there are going to be drivers that are not going to pit for tires. If they can make it to the end on fuel, they're going to do it. And their tires could be falling off the car. I mean, they could run across the start-finish line on 2 tires. They're still going to finish this race. They're not going to pit for tires.
I'll take your word for that. You've definitely been around here a lot longer than I have, so we'll have to wait and see if that is going to be the case. As always, I personally, if I were these drivers, and this is the same for somebody that does not win a whole awful lot, I would certainly come down to change tires, but I guess that might be why I don't win a whole lot in these types of races either.
Nolan, I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. I'm kind of upset that they only given me 3 sets of tires, because if running this race, I'd have to have 5 or 6 sets. I'd be in every 15 or 20 laps the way these things they'll handle on them old tires. When you got laps, about 20, 25 laps on these tires, that car gets a little crazy on you. But these guys, somehow, some way, they managed to run spectacular on tires that had 50, 60 laps on them. I have watched these drivers run 100 laps on a set of tires where I thought to myself, what in the world are they running on? But they do it, and they make it look like it's got 4 laps on those tires. Boyd Hogan sneaking up there. He is trying to get that lead again.
He's got fresh tires, but just by 1 lap. So we'll have to see if that 1 lap is going to be enough for him to catch back up and take the lead. It might be a case, though, of the draft that could be playing into effect. Remember, we talked to Mullins before the green flag and just before qualifying how important the draft was going to be and how powerful it could be in these cars. I think we're seeing that playing into full effect now.
But Nolan, now that we see these guys are settling down and looks like this is going to be a green flag race, let's go ahead and pause for a sponsor commercial. Welcome back to Vegas. These guys are gambling big here, and it looks like Boyd Hogan, he's putting all his chips on the table. He wants the lead again.
Yes, indeed. So it does seem like Boyd Hogan might be trying to run down James Mullins for the race lead. They're approaching, though, on a very, very fierce battle for the 21st position between 5 different drivers. You've got Casile Keith running there. You've got Jeffrey Smith, Chris Johnson, Jaden Profit, and Clifton Cockrell all running in the same grouping as each other. I like to look up at that battle for a minute. We haven't given the back of the field much love this race. And take a look at Jaden Profit as he just now darted by Chris Johnson, and he's looking to hunt down Jeffrey Smith as well.
Well, let's go ahead and let's jump in the car with James Mullins as he comes and tries to work himself through these cars up here. And let's kind of see what he sees. Let's go in car with James Mullins.
Now, I've been in this situation as Mullins a couple times before where you're coming up on lap traffic, and the way when the fierce fight like that usually ends up, for me at least, I see all of a sudden 2 cars become 1, smoke flies, and usually I end up getting into the smoke a bit with them. We'll have to hope that does not happen to Mullins here, as that would be absolutely detrimental to his race. He's right now getting by Clifton Cockrell in the number 16 cars. We continue to ride on board And there you can see he's still closing the gap. He's running about 30.4 seconds on the last time by. Last time for Chris Johnson, 31.2, so nearly a second off the pace of this group.
Yeah, if he can get these drivers to separate and be single file, it'll be easy for him. But as you can see, we're watching his in-car here. He's got these drivers in front of him side by side, and he's thinking to himself, oh no. Oh, he gets a little squirrely there. You see him seesawing on that steering wheel as he's closing in on these guys. Let's watch and see what happens. Is he going to take somebody out, or are they going to take him out? He's closing up fast. Oh, they just pull up. They let him by.
It's Brian Hubble who was actually being lapped by that same battle as this whole thing was going on.
And Chris Johnson, he comes past the inside. Everybody is being courteous, and they're letting him by. They're not going to race to stay on the lead lap as Chris Johnson just goes down a lap. Now Cecil Keith in a 33 machine. He's the next one to go a lap down, and it looks like James Mullins is getting a lot of like gentleman handshakes. Like, here you go, you can have the position.
I was just riding along with Boyd Hogan, actually, Al, and I just heard something that I did not expect to hear this early on. He actually put the clutch into the car and coasted on the engine to 3 and 4. He didn't do it for 1 and 2, but that car cut out through 3 and 4, so put the clutch in and coast a little bit, save a little bit of fuel, so he might be trying to maybe stretch this fuel as long as he can. He just did it again there. Actually, if we could, I'd like to ride on board with Boyd Hogan for a lap, see if he'll do it again in turns 3 and 4, even in 1 and 2. I think he's trying to save some fuel early, so he doesn't have to put as much into the fuel and get a shorter pit stop in the last one of the race.
Let's go ahead and get in car with Boyd Hogan. Yeah, you're right. He's kind of clutching it a little bit. You can watch the RPMs drop. He might be, maybe he's clutching it instead of using the brake. Maybe he just pushes the clutch in to let the car set, and then he lets off the clutch and he keeps rolling. See, the clutch is in, sets, and then so he's not trying to save fuel. He's trying to avoid having to use brakes to slow him down.
It does conserve a little bit of fuel too, so he might be doing a little bit of both, trying to conserve tires, trying to conserve fuel, maybe
clutch it now. Sets the car
gas
and
at
lets
the
off
end.
gas. Yeah, so he's kind of banking that car, and once it sets itself, once the tires set in the concrete, he lets go of that clutch and he's off. Instead of using the brake to slow himself out, he clutches. He didn't do it that time. He's going to go all for it now.
Well, because he sees
and he hits early.
there, and look at that, James Mullins getting really held up there by Matt Hornbuckle, nearly running them over off of turn 4.
There goes Boyd again with his clutch, and he's back on it. See, Boyd knows he's got to get around these guys too, and what he's hoping for right now is these guys in front of him are not courteous to James Mullins, or at least gives him the same courtesy as they're giving James.
Well, I know for sure that Matt Hornbuckle was not courteous at all to that number 6 car. In fact, they nearly had their own little incident because they were due bounding for the 21st position.
Well,
and technically, the way iRacing rules works is the blue flags, unlike in a lot of real-world motorsports, they are certainly not. They're certainly not it's not a command flag, it's an advisory flag. They don't have to obey it. Look at Mullins, though. He's not too happy, though, as Jeffrey Smith is. They're getting real close, almost making contact. He's not happy that he didn't let him out of his way, is he?
no, he's not. These drivers don't have to give him anything. They can still race to stay on the lead lap. They're on the high line. He's get the low line. It's his job to get around him. It's not their job to slow down and give it to him. This is what they call racing. You know, this is how you do it. And these guys are doing it.
Oh, hang on. We just have some trouble up front. Eric Kling had a massive save. We got to get a replay of that one if you can. To the number 52 car. Had a massive, massive save off of turn 2. Lost it all on his own. Went left, right, left on the apron. And somehow managed to keep it out of other cars. Particularly Wayne Grassi, who nearly collided with him.
Oh, I don't want to hear that. That's my race. Or pick to win the race.
Well, your pick to win the race is now down 5 spots in 19th place. So, not too hot. One car's spun as well. Tanner Love's had a spin off of turn number 2, I think. And in fact, he didn't hit the wall either. It was again just a cell spin all on his own.
Yeah, but he's off the track now. He's going to go in and get some fresh tires. I mean, he was nowhere on the track that he could cause a wreck for anybody else, so no caution comes out.
So it seems like tires might be starting to go for a couple of drivers, as that was both two cars that got loose all on their own off of turn number 2. One of them saved it, one of them not so much. Both drivers not a lot of damage, a bit of shot tires, but apart from that, they are going to be safe. But Tanner Love, this is a heartbreaker for him. He's gone from 5th place. He's going to go a lap down here no matter what now.
Yeah, we have only got 19 cars on the lead lap.
Of course, 19 out of the 32 that started the race. Love is now out of the pits, which is good for him. And it's about to be just 17 cars in the lead lap, as right now Mullins is closing in on Jaden Profit and Eric Kling.
Yeah, we've got 2 drivers have already taken their cars to the garage. It's John Mullins the second, and Donnie Gatton Jr. have both taken their car to the garage and called it an early race. We watched John Mullins get into a little bit of an altercation coming on pit road and got tapped in the back there, and that's probably why he called it a night.
It's definitely been a hard race for a couple drivers so far. It's been a long one. Oh! Contact is made! Kling first! He takes the speed around! That will be being mature! Big wreck in turn 4!
Oh, that was my driver to pick to win the race. 52. He gets into it, and I think he gets into that with Jordan Profit.
Yeah, Eric Kling just came down a little bit, kind of chopped Jaden Profit's nose. That sent the 52 sideways, took out James Mullins, who saved him. Mullins got massive damage. Kling slammed the outside wall and then slammed down right in front of Jeffrey Smith, who clobbered him.
Yeah.
My goodness. So the first caution of the race on lap number 86, 49 laps to go. Question is now, these drivers only have one more tire set. Do they use it under this caution flag?
Yeah, they definitely do, because they do know that there's not going to be another caution. That was a caution of racing to stay on the lead lap. That's what that was. And those guys were trying to race each other to stay on the lead lap, and it just looked like one of them just caught the draft wrong and lost control.
Yeah, it's
Let's watch the pit stops of James Mullins and Boyd Hogan. Obviously, James is going to be in the pits a little bit longer because he's going to have some side damage that should not affect his performance unless he has front end damage, which he didn't get caught too much in the front end. It was mostly side damage.
Now that rear end's not looking healthy either, the right rear quarter panel, so we'll have to see what's going to happen for him here. Keep in mind as well that if drivers take fuel, which no doubt a lot of them are, in fact, it's only fuel for Boyd Hogan.
Boyd only took fuel. He's going to try to run those tires to the end.
A couple of drivers stayed out as well, so this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. I think Wayne Grassi has actually stayed out. Jeffrey's, yeah, in fact it is, yes, Wayne Grassi looks like he did actually stay out, and he actually almost got collected in the midst of things as well. He actually just nearly missed Eric Kling when he had his first bobble off of turn 2.
Yeah, but keep in mind here that we've got these leaders that got fuel only. They're on older tires, and they've got to get through a lot of these drivers who they've already been through once and put them a lap down, but now they're getting what's called a wave around, and they're going to get back on the lead lap. They have no reason to be courteous to Boyd Hogan and James Mullins now. They're racing the same laps they are, so they can race them side by side. They're not going to pull up and give them a position freely like Boyd Hogan has been used to happening. So we're going to notice probably what I call cautions breed cautions. I could be wrong, but we may be seeing our bubble bursted and the first caution happened, and it could bring a lot more cautions out.
I'm still lost as to Boyd Hogan's strategy here, if I'm being completely honest, because he has the race lead, yes, but he only took fuel, so he's going to be driving on some shot tires by the end of the race. You're under caution. Why would you not take tires? You only have one set left, yes, but he already ran on just one set for a lot longer in the first run than what's left in the race right now. So it's a very curious strategy, and one that I honestly did not expect to see taking place. I mean, usually under caution, the call to go is, if you don't even make it to the end on one set of tires and on a full tank of fuel, get both of them so you don't have to stop again, or you're not being held up in the later sections of the run.
No, and I've watched Boyd pull this trick several times. And what his thought pattern is right now is there's going to be another wreck. He knows James Mullins just took tires because he was, getting his damage fixed. He knows this. So if there's another caution, let's say 20 laps in, he can pit then and get fresh tires and then have 25 lap fresh tires to race with. He's going to be on newer tires than the rest of the field.
So he might be trying to go for. But
Yeah, he's kind of hoping and praying. Yeah, and it's Vegas. He's gambling. I mean, he may be just thinking to himself, you know what? All I need is fuel. I've watched him put 100 laps on a set of tires before and thought to myself, it ain't possible. And he's made it possible. So Boyd can make the impossible possible just by doing things on how his driving style is. So just watch him. It's his method of his madness here.
Lights are out on the pace car 1.5 miles before we go green flag racing. This is a massive, massive gamble for Boyd Hogan here. This is pretty much the definition of putting all your chips on black. Especially, it's very suitable, actually, that kind of a metaphor now that we're, of course, in Las Vegas. Most certainly a city known for, well, these sorts of activities, shall we say. So this is going to go one of two ways for Boyd Hogan. This could either play out great for him. He is going to get into the caution a few laps in, where he can come on down, get those tires changed over, and then he's on fresher tires than anyone else in the field. Or it's going to run green, and he's going to get completely swallowed up. Those are the only two ways this can go. And he is praying right now it's going to be option number one.
You'll watch this restart. I'm watching. Boyd's he's gonna take a slow start. He's not gonna shoot out of there because he's on older tires and he's gonna lose his rear end. So Justin Levine, I believe, and Curtis Sawyer's in the 9 are on fresh tires. So they're gonna get around Boyd Hogan. But we don't. James Mullins, I think, is just on fuel only too.
I want to mention as well that James Mullins is down in only 4th place, and he's gotten a good portion of the damage fix as well, so we could be watching for Mullins here to see if he can make anything work on this field as well. The pace car pulls him up. Boyd Hogan, what can he do? On the pedal early, and we are green once again.
He just shot out of there. Amazingly crazy. I never would imagine those tires would have stuck like that.
Hey, you and me both, so Boyd Hogan gapped the field by a lot. Sawyer picks up 2nd place from Justin Levine. Here comes James Mullins. Can he make something work? In the 4th position, here goes Tyler Pluff trying to pick up 4th from Mullins. Oh, and the 19 car bobbles a bit. Justin Levine backing up.
That gets
tank
Mullins
slapper.
loose. Here comes, it's going to split in the middle. It's 74, Stephen West. 37's coming up here of Andrew Melvin. He wants the high line, and he's coming through with a head of steam.
It's a Hornet's nest.
Fresh tires. Oh, we got somebody squirrely down there below. And is that?
Sawyer, Curtis Sawyer from 2nd place.
Oh, he got really squirrely. He must be on old tires too.
So a lot of drivers certainly almost losing early at the massive Hornet's nest back here right now in the middle of this field. So my goodness me, this is certainly interesting. But look at Tyler Pluff in the 2nd place. He's ready to take the lead here from Boyd Hogan. This guy started in 30th place, 2 spots away from last, and now look at him. He's made up 28 spots, make that 29. New leader, Tyler Pluff.
Right behind him in 3rd is coming through a head of steam is Andrew Melvin. He's got some fresh tires, and he's going to take 2nd away from Boyd Hogan. But yes, Tyler Pluff has pulled off an amazing. That is the largest gap gain we've had this season. That is 29 positions. That's basically going 2 spots from last to the lead in 92 laps.
Oh, 1 car sliding. That's number 5 car, David Javals. Sideways in turn number 2, saves it. Just on the exit with some help from the apron, but the number 5 car, very close call. Hogan almost got his 2nd caution there.
It has fell back into 3rd now as Andrew Melvin at 37 just took that position from him. And we're watching as looks like Andrew, is that the 3 car? 3 of Mike Eames just took 3rd from Boyd Hogan. Stephen West is working on Boyd Hogan. Boyd Hogan is falling like a boat anchor. He's regretting those no tire changes.
And here comes Andrew Melvin now trying to make a run for the race lead here. Can he make it work? It's going to be a good question. Let's take a look at this. This is the big battle here further deep in the field. Look at the number 7 car. They're 3, almost 4 wide. It's a massive Hornet's nest down there as they're running 3 wide right now, trying to get around a lap car that is 10 out of love. that these two cars trying to dice their way around. Love is not giving any respect to them whatsoever here, considering he's a car that's a lap down.
Yeah, some drivers won't do it. As you watched that, Andrew Melvin has taken the lead from Tyler Pluff, getting him back to only gaining 29 spots.
My goodness, this has certainly been one heck of a race and one heck of a restart at that. I mean, this has just been absolutely insane. It looks like the Hornet's Nest further deep in the field is starting to kind of break up by just a little bit, but I'll keep one eye on it and see if anything else comes of that mess because, oh, it is! Oh, there's the second caution! Maybe Curtis Sawyer sideways, hard to the wall, the 83, yellow flag is out, Curtis Sawyer is involved, multi-cars, and then Mark Love is in it as well.
Oh, and they're still wrecking. Oh, and James Mullins. So now Boyd Hogan has lost 7 positions. So we're going to see Boyd Hogan coming on the pit road. There's no way in the world he is not going to visit pit road and get fresh tires now. If he doesn't, there is a snowball's chance in hell that he's going to win this race.
Craig Johnson really slammed that outside wall in turn 2. That car is going to be completely destroyed right now. No doubt not feeling pleasant. The 83 car, Mike Knight. Sorry, not Mike Knight. The 83 car, Craig Johnson. He's the one that really hit hard on the outside wall. It's definitely not something you want to see. That was, again, the case of just a couple cars that were maybe raced a bit too hard. One got loose, and yeah, there we have it. So it looks like Sawyer got a little bit loose, and unfortunately, when you're racing that close together, what are you going to do?
Here goes Boyd. He's coming to get some tires. He did not like his decision. So his thought pattern is now he's going to be on roughly 15 laps, 16 laps fresher tires. Now that's caution number 2. We still have some laps to go here. Are we going to see another caution? Because as these laps are trickling down, these guys are getting more and more desperate to get up to the lead and gain a position. We're going to watch some drivers who we haven't heard anything much from, such as, Kenny Powell, Matt Hornbuckle, Brian Johnson. They all kind of just calmed down and stayed in the back and kind of, mind their P's and Q's. Well, now, amazingly enough, I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to believe it, Nolan, Boyd Hogan took fuel only.
You're kidding me.
I did not see him get any tires. Did he take? We have to go back. Let me go back and look, because I think if he took any, he took right sides only.
And I'll take a look at that as well. It sounds like he did actually take 4 tires. It was 4 tires, thankfully, for Boyd Hogan. That would have been
okay. I see it now. I didn't see the car jack up there, but as I watch his replay, I do see it now. He does get tires. And Justin Levine also got tires, and it does look like James has came back in. Maybe he's got a little bit more damage, and James is getting tires now. So we'll watch these 3 drivers as they were really fast in the beginning of this race, see if they can come back to the field, because now they're going to be starting deep in the field.
And now
other drivers are coming in as well, yeah.
Yeah, those are some of the cars that got damaged, particularly Craig Johnson in the 83 who body slammed the outside wall. While we were with one of the onboards that we probably took a look at was, of course, Cecil Keith, who well, shall we say, pulled a bit of a Moses impression, parted the seas to find his way through the middle of that mess, almost locked the brakes as well to get his way through there, but for Cecil Keith, I'm pretty sure that is what we would call a Code Brown moment right there.
Yeah, he's going to want to, his next sponsor for next week is definitely going to be Depends.
99 laps complete, coming to the end of lap 99 here this time by. It's going to be 35 laps to go when we get around to the stripe. Assuming we are 2 to green now, it'll be 34 laps to green by the time we go back green flag racing. Estimated fuel window was about 59 laps, so if you give yourself about just over half fuel tank, maybe about 55% of a fuel tank, you might be able to run it out to the end. I would expect that after this run of pit stops here under this yellow flag, unless it's for some kind of fuel stop, which would definitely be a surprise, we shouldn't be seeing any further pit stops, and this should be a straight shot to the end of the race.
Yeah, so we're going to watch the 37 of Andrew Melvin, 21 of Tyler Pluff, Stephen West in the 74, and Michael Eames in the 3. Going to be fighting for the lead. And I'm hearing in race chatter that Andrew Melvin in the 37 is going to take the top line. So that might be his preferred line, and he thinks that's where his speed's at. But going back to our race leaders, we have Boyd Hogan, Justin Levine, and James Mullins, who were leading earlier for a good portion of this race. They're now 13th, 14th, and 15th. They've got to try to get around and get back up there in 30 laps, 35 laps? Can they do it? It's going to be a battle because these guys in front of them are not going to easily give them a position like they previously have been doing.
So Melvin on the top side, Pluff on the bottom. Now we know that the outside line has really been the place to be if you want to hang on to a position through the course of this race. It's where the momentum is off the corner, but it's not where the momentum is on the opening lap. For the opening lap, you want to be on the inside line. So it's an interesting call from Melvin. We'll have to see if this will play off for him.
I'm thinking he's kind of hoping he's going to hold Tyler Pluff to the bottom line long enough for him to eat up his tires, and then he's going to preserve his tires by riding that high line. However, Stephen West is going to be on Tyler Pluff's bumper and pushing him all the way to the lead so he can get second position. I've seen it happen with Mr. Stephen West in that 74 machine, and I guarantee you we're going to watch it again here. He's going to start closing up.
34 laps left to go. Pace car pulls down on pit road. It's in the hands of Andrew Melvin, who gets on the throttle early. The green flag drops. We're up and away once again. Looks like the top line didn't matter too much. He's already well and clear of the field.
And we watch the 90 go below the 4-car Brian Johnson. It looks like that high line is just not it for him. And riding in there, that was... Boy, these guys are just staying in. The high line is not working for him.
Let's take a look back at Boyd Hogan. He just diced his way past 7-car Wayne Grassi, up to the inside now of Kenny Powell trying to make a run. So Hogan on the move, trying to get the race lead back. He's going to get clear of Powell here in turn number 1. He's going to have another go here at Brian Johnson. He's going to have a go at Tyler Smith as well. Can he potentially go for one on the field by the time he gets to turn 3?
These guys, I have no idea. They're pulling up and just giving him, like he's got something. Maybe he's got the coronavirus on his hood and they're afraid of him. I mean, they're staying high and they're letting him have it. We're going three wide back there with a 19, and then Matt Hornbuckle's in the middle and Brian Johnson's on the top line. And they clean that up a little bit here, but it does. I don't understand this. Boyd Hogan is riding that low line and he is just working his way right to the front. He's going to get there before we get to the start-finish line. He is going to be the new leader. He started out in 13th position, and he's already moved himself right back up to the lead.
Fresh tires, you called it. That was the pit. That was the caution that he wanted, to get those fresh tires on the car. Got them on the car, and all of a sudden that strategy is playing out like a charm. So Boyd Hogan back up to the race lead. James Mullins is also finding some luck in the bag. He's right now at the inside of Tyler Smith. He's going to pick up and get himself rounded up inside the top 10. Now he's trying to run down Brian Johnson from the 9th position as well.
If Boyd Hogan didn't just show the rest of these drivers behind him how it's done, they're not following his instructions. I mean, everybody's running the high line, trying to find the speed there. The speed is not in the high line. Why are they staying on the high line? I can't tell you, Nolan. I'm not understanding this.
Probably because they're still on older tires and they're trying to conserve them until the end of the race. That might be the case right here. Hogan, though, is on the fresh tires, so he can just go. And that is certainly what he's doing now, trying to get well and truly clear the field before it's too late. In the bag, Mullins is still trying to work now on Mike Eames in that number 3 car. He's going to manage to get on the inside as up ahead of him, Matt Hornbuckle clears for the 8th position as well. And Mullins is going to pick up the 7th place car now. So James Mullins is still trying to work his way up. He has the very big potential right now to get himself a top 5, maybe even a podium tonight.
Simply amazing. I told you, Boyd Hogan, he's a master of disguise here. He'll make it look like he's not going to do something, and he hopes and he gambles, and it's Vegas, and that's what you do. He laid all the chips on the table and rode 11, and he won. So he's up there in the lead again, and he is not going to relinquish that lead. I bet you, see, when we're at Vegas, I'm going to put all my chips to say Boyd Hogan's going to win this race tonight.
3 wide behind him. Tyler Smith contact with Mike Ames. Ames slides and saves it on the bottom side. Mark Love picks up 2 for 1 in the same corner while Mike Ames gets muscled out on the high side.
Now look who's back in second spot here. Justin Levine. I remember Justin Levine was patiently waiting earlier, and he waited and waited and waited on Boyd Hogan, and then he did the hat trick, and he went right around Boyd. So we possibly could see the same hat trick here.
Oh, one to the wall, turn 3. That's Jay Felton that's just slapped the wall hard at turn number 3 on losing time rapidly. Still grinding against the fence and gets off it on the front straightaway. Jay Felton, though, hard into the wall off of turn number 4. This happened because of 3 wide. With David Garveau, we might need to get a look at that. In the middle, Wayne Grassi had to check up, and that scared Felton, and he hit the wall hard.
Well, let's watch this battle for the lead. It looks like Justin Levine is he's putting the pressure on Boyd Hogan. He says, I know you got fresh tires, and I do too. Let's see who's better at this. Boyd is kind of trying to keep him behind him. Every time Justin kind of peaks high, Boyd peaks high. So I'm thinking that what's going to have to happen here is Justin's going to have to shake him. And I think he just did it there. No, he's going to shake him here in the next corner. He's going to go low and force Boyd Hogan to stay high.
So Levine
Justin
up
Levine
the inside.
takes the lead. Just easily takes it. No, but this be a crossover. Boyd Hogan's going to try to get the same low behind him. Put a little pressure on him.
He almost gives him a bump down the front stretch there as well. So Boyd Hogan is definitely on the hunt. He wants to get that first position. He wants it bad. Levine pushes a little bit wide on the exit, but that'll work out for him. As now Boyd Hogan, all he can do is try to get the draft and hope that maybe, just maybe, he can maybe get the run on him off of one of these corners. But apart from that, it might be Levine's race to win.
Well, I'm listening to Boyd Hogan's engine, and he is clutching it again. So I think he's trying to save his brakes here. He is clutching it. Yeah, as he comes off, he's letting out. So he is clutching it again. He is working that brake and clutch system.
So Boyd Hogan here might be trying to conserve just that little bit more, and then he might be trying to push just enough that he can stay within reach. He still has 22 laps to go yet. About to start lap 113, 134. So with 22 laps to go, Hogan definitely still has some time to make the move.
Well, I'm watching Justin, and Justin he's giving it all he's got. So I think Boyd is saving his material and hoping and praying. You know, it's Vegas, we're gambling. He's hoping Justin Levine is using up his equipment. And we're going to have just a shy over 20 laps when we go across the start-finish line this time by. And Boyd Hogan probably won't pull a hat trick out of his hat till about 5 to go. He's going to let Justin Levine be comfortable up there in the front, and he's going to ride back, and he's going to save his material, and then he's going to let the engines roar.
In many ways, what he's doing here kind of reminds me of how you would want to race at about Daytona or Talladega. And he'll sit back, conserve, don't push too hard. In the final 5 laps, that's when you want to start punching your way to the front. Now, Hogan's already out the front. He's only got 1 car to go before he's in the race lead. He's just got to try to make sure that he can set that pass up and get it done when he needs to in order to make sure that that pass can be executed cleanly.
But if he gives any pressure to Justin Levine, any pressure, and he gives it the pressure at the right moment, he can get a wobble out of Justin, and that wobble will be enough for him not only to make the pass, but gain him about 0.2 of a second. And it looks like here comes Boyd to the inside, and there's that wobble. There's that wobble. Now he's passed him, and he's got more than 0.2 between him and Justin Levine, and that's what he wanted.
Really close call there for Justin Levine. Got a bit scared on that top line. Maybe dipped 2 wheels into the gray where there's not as much rubber laid down. That allowed Boyd Hogan to capitalize and get the run on the lead. So now, all of a sudden, this has gone from Levine's race to win to Levine's race to lose. Now, all of a sudden, it's Justin Levine that has to really put in the work to try to catch back up to Boyd Hogan.
You're not looking too far back there, Nolan, because we've got James Mullen, the monster, in that 6 car. He's coming up, and he's coming on a mission. He's like, I've only got a few more laps to go, and I'm not giving this to Boyd Hogan. He is coming, and he's coming strong.
He certainly is. The fact that lap times were just about dead even the last time by. Mullins is just inside a second right now of Justin Levine, which is good for him. Right now he's about 1.5 seconds back from Boyd Hogan. So Mullins has got the potential to certainly get a podium finisher today. He might even be able to get a top 2. Can he get the race win, though? I almost want to say he would need a yellow flag to make that happen, but I don't quite know.
It's going to depend on how easily he gets past Justin Levine. And if Justin keeps draft with him, because they're going to need draft. And if James is smart, he's going to push Justin Levine up there to Boyd Hogan and use him as a pick to get the lead.
I mean,
there's quite a gap between first and second.
I mean, that's exactly what you'd want to do. You would want to use that second place car as a little bit of a pick, kind of get your foot in the door, then kick it down as a get by second place, then immediately make your run for the race lead. So this is a really intense battle for the race lead that might be heating up here. The gap is still closed. It was 1.5 seconds a couple laps ago. It's 1.3 seconds now. Mullins is certainly closing the gap. He is reeling in Levine even more. The gap between Levine and Mullins is only 0.3 of a second now. So James Mullins is on a mission right now. He wants to get that race win and go back to back.
Does he have enough laps? I want to say yes, but unless he starts stepping it up a little bit, I think this is Boyd Hogan's race to lose. I mean, he's got the whole thing in the bag. It's his race to lose. Now, it depends on how cleanly James Mullins gets around, and he's going to get around him fairly clean. No, he's not going to get around him fairly clean. They're still going to race side by side, and this is exactly what Boyd wants to see in his rearview mirror, this side-by-side racing, because this slows these cars down. But the 19 of Justin Levine lets him get by, and he's going to tuck right behind that 6. And he's going to get right up to his bumper, and he's going to have to push him. He's going to have to give him a little bit of extra oomph. And then look at there's Mark Love in that 30 machine. He's moved his way back up into this.
I think the damage might have already been done, though, because the gap is about 2 seconds now up to Boyd Hogan. So this, I think the damage before that battle for the race lead is very much done and dusted. It's 1.7 seconds. Oh, caution is out! This changes the race! Back on the front straightaway, multi-car hits him on the front.
That was not what Boyd Hogan wanted to see. And that was a heck of a wreck. That involved David Gervais and a couple other drivers right there. I don't know if Chris Johnson was involved. Let's see here. We got one Smokey and the Bandit out here. Looks like that's a blown engine, and that should be I believe the 5 car, David Gervais.
David Gervais was actually the driver that was the main cause of this incident, too. He pushed up a bit too wide, cut across Tyler Pluff's nose, and that sent him hard into the outside wall, head on, the hardest hit of the race so far. Collected Andrew Melvin in the process. They slid down, and then Gervais was hit hard by Brian Johnson. I believe he was actually hit one more time by Tyler Smith as well. So a very ugly wreck on the front straightaway, and definitely the hardest hit of the race so far.
That's going to be a very huge benefit to Mark Love and James Mullins and Justin Levine. That's going to make this. It's going to be a game changer. Now we're going to watch some racing. Are these guys going to pit? They don't have any tires left. There's no benefit to pit.
I'll tell that to Tyler Pluff and Stephen West. Of course, both those drivers were involved in the wreck, so it's, I guess, unsurprised that they're both going to be coming down to the pit lane. They have massive damage that they do need to fix. This is going to get very, very hairy here. Boyd Hogan and James Mullins, they've been dude-battling this entire race. Both drivers have been looking at each other out the doors for the first 15 laps, so they were side by side, just non-stop. Chris Johnson does have the lucky dog, so the 48 car going to get one lap back. Now the question's going to be, who's going to win this race? Because all of a sudden we thought Boyd Hogan might have it. Well, that victory is not looking so certain anymore, is it?
We've got 6 drivers, 7 drivers, 8 drivers. Anybody in the top 10 could possibly win this race, because we're going to have a battle going on up there for the lead. The first 4 cars are definitely going to battle, and if they get hooked up just wrong, that could be a possibility for 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th to come up here and win this thing. This race isn't over. This Boyd Hogan doesn't have us in the bag. This restart is going to show. And if we watch the previous restarts with Boyd Hogan, he gets a tremendous jump. But James Mullins is right behind him again. And Mark Love and Justin Levine are all there. And they're going to predict it, and they're going to watch for it, and they're going to gain with it.
Well, so here's the thing as well. Mullins actually might want to tuck right inside Boyd Hogan, because that'll mean he'll get the draft that much sooner. We'll be able to just run down Boyd Hogan, who might not be able to do anything about it. We're 10 laps to go as of right now at the line. 124 laps in the books. Well, just 10 more laps to go. So this is about to get very, very hot on the track. And all of a sudden, all that conserving and all that clean race we've been seeing time and time again throughout this race, I have a very strong feeling that's about to go out the window.
Yeah, there's one more caution in these guys. I believe there's one more caution in these guys. And we're going to watch it. And it's probably going to be in the front of the field.
I'm going to be honest, if these two drivers take themselves out battling, I'm probably going to have myself a little cry, because they've been racing so good throughout the whole of this race. I would absolutely hate to see Boyd Hogan making the call to the top line. A bit of an unusual there for the one.
That's not going to be good for Boyd Hogan. He's gonna jump a little early, though, but that bottom line is where the speed's at. So we're going to watch James Mullins and Justin Levine are going to be pushing.
Talk about putting all your chips on black. We thought he was doing that when he waited before he took tires. I can't think of any sort of benefit that this would be a good strategy move. So, yeah, I honestly have no clue about this one.
Well, let's keep an eye on this 24 machine and the 4 machine running back in here, because they've been quiet and kind of praying and watching what's going on up there. They may definitely be getting down there. Now, we also have to remember that we've got some teammates up front, okay? So they may have some kind of a strategy going on, some kind of race chatters that nobody else can hear, to where they're going to try to get a benefit that the rest of the field might not know. They may get an early jump. So let's watch it. But let's not count out the driver running in the 5th spot and the driver running in the 6th spot, because those guys have been able to stay clean, stay away from all the problems. And they, Brian Johnson, he started this race at 6. He doesn't want to finish at 6. He wants to finish up there in the top 3 at least.
Just about 2 or 3 green flag laps will put us into green-white checker territory, and when this race gets stretched out, likely into overtime. So this could get really, really dicey with the order here. We'll have to wait and see what's going to take place here. The lights are out on the pace car. There'll be 8 laps to go when we take the green flag once more. Should know Mullins is not lined up directly side by side with Boyd Hogan here.
But he has Mark Love, and we watched Mark Love. He was impatient to get to the front of this field. He had his foot to the floor the whole race and beyond. He's going to be Fred Flintstone on that sucker all the way past the start-finish line and hopefully get around Boyd Hogan. If Boyd Hogan gets a jump on this, it's going to be a race to the finish. These guys are going to have to catch him and get around him. So let's watch this. I'm watching in anticipation. They got to tighten this up. And if they tighten this up, it'll be really nice. If they lay back, they're going to be hard-pressed to catch those drivers. They got to tighten this up. There it goes. There it goes. Oh, Mark Love got a little squirrely.
And James Mullins under fire all of a sudden from Justin Levine. Levine clears for 2nd place on the entry to turn number 1. This is not good for James Mullins, who all of a sudden has got one car between himself and Boyd Hogan and victory. Don't forget, Mark Love is looking in the wings as well. Look at this, blocking him all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Locking. And I'm being told that Justin Levine in 2nd position, he has gotten a black flag, and they had to clear his black flag for passing under yellow in that start. So Justin Levine got a lucky break there. And let's watch Mark Love as he battles for 3rd here and tries to get himself up to that leader. They don't have many laps left.
This is disaster for James Mullins. This might not work for him at all.
Kenny following that 24 machine. He's going to follow the inside, and he's going to, he had to check up a little bit there because Mark Love is getting really squirrely and worrying the whole field here.
6 laps to go. Mullins is clear, trying to run down Levine. Does he have the time he needs to reel him in? It's only 8/10 separating 1st through 3rd. Not a lot of time separating them at all. The question is that enough time for Mullins to close the gap?
No, it is not. But James Mullins is now going to have the battle between him and the 24th, Kenny Powell. And it looks like Kenny's trying to get everything he can. He wants to get his first podium position here. Can he do it in that 24 machine? As we watch Mark Love, he's going to go to the inside, and Mark Love has been loose. It's going to be a... Oh, he's really close at taking the rear end right off of Kenny Powell in that 24 machine.
Mullins still trying to find a way around Justin Levine. He's got Powell really hounding the mirrors. Mark Love still waiting in the wings. Up the inside goes Mullins. Mullins is loose. Manages to hang on to it, but Levine manages to get the momentum off the corner. Here comes Powell up into third place.
It's a race for first, second, and third right here. And it's here comes Mark Love. He's on the inside again. And he is just chasing that thing. Mark Love, if he's able to handle this car without catching somebody and wrecking them, I would be amazed. He goes low, and the car pushes up, so he's going to catch somebody. He's in the inside, and he loses it again.
That car is certainly struggling right now. Mark Love is struggling hard right now. Mullins is clear for second, trying to hold Levine behind him, blocking low, blocking high, on the inside. Here comes Powell. Mullins trying to pull the outside line. It's 1.4 seconds with 2 laps to go to Boyd Hogan. I don't think there's any possible way that Mullins can catch him for the race lead.
I believe Mark Love wants to wreck somebody. He just adamantly wants to wreck somebody. That 30 car is all over these guys' bumper. And here goes Kenny Powell to the inside again. He's wanting to get Mike Knight's that position back from him. And he...
Oh! Mullins got loose.
Hey, they all check up. They all checked up. Kenny Powell goes really low to avoid that disaster that was about to happen. That took the momentum. Here's Matt Hornbuckle in the 56 machine. He's coming up. He's got the 96 machine right on his bumper.
White flag is in the air. Final time around. 2 wide. Mullins slams down the wall. Run on the track. Over the wall. Into the wall. Down. Big crash. Turn.
Kenny Powell in the 24 machine. Kenny Powell does about 72 laps or 72 flips. Did you see that 24 machine? 24 machine got caught into that. He did more flips in the air. I mean, it was amazing.
And Boyd Hogan crosses the finish line, takes the victory in the NetServ 200 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Mike Knight picks up second place. Levine has to settle for third. James Mullins goes into fourth, and Tanner Love rounds out the top 5, but a tremendous accident of a turn number 2 on the final lap.
And I told you that there was no way in the world that that was going to end well. I watched that many, many times, and I predicted it back there. It looked like Mark Love was not going to be happy until something happened to bring out a caution.
Yeah, unfortunately, that wreck came all too late for James Mullins, who ended up having to take away in 4th place. So Boyd Hogan does take the race win, and oh my goodness, that's one way to end the race, I suppose.
That kind of looked like James Mullins might have came down a little bit and caught 30 of Mark Love. If we watch that replay, it kind of looks like James Mullins. He went up just a little bit, just a bump. Just a bump, Mark Love, in that 30 machine. Just enough for him to catch the wall.
Well, now that this race has concluded, let's take a look at your post-race results. So it is Boyd Hogan to come on with the race win today. Mike Knight down in the 2nd position. Levine picks up 3rd. Mullins in 4th. Tanner Love finishes it off in 5th place. Jada Profit in 6th. Cecile Keith in 7th. Jeffrey Smith in 8th. Mike Eames in 9th. And Matt Hornbuckle in the 10th position. Chris Johnson in 11th. Wayne Grassi in 12th. Tyler Smith 13th. Paul Olson 14th. Brian Johnson rounds out the top 15 here, Al.
Yeah, that looks kind of like It really does look like the 6 of James Mullins and the battle for Mark Love were side by side, and it kind of looks like either James Mullins had lost traction a little bit, and he just barely tapped the 30 of Mark Love and sent him into the wall that caused that last crash.
Well,
Drivers are
certainly.
not happy on that finish.
I mean, even Boyd Hogan isn't the most pleased with that finish either. I mean, he was wanting to race that one out right to the end. Certainly, no doubt, not the way that he wanted to win that race. Most unfortunate there for all the drivers that got caught up for it, especially that 24 car who went from being set to win, not win, but he was set for his first podium finish, and he's gonna end up with a DNF there, one lap down in the 20th position.
Yeah, yeah, it's really bad. Now that was a racing incident. I mean, that was nothing, no intentional about that. That was just a racing incident. It looks like the draft might have caused the car, and it's really hard to tell at fault for that. We can go in-car camera all we want and kind of go with the in-car James Mullins and see if he turned the wheel to the right, and I'm guaranteeing you we're not going to see any kind of jerking of the wheel. I don't know if it was a net code or what it was, but knowing James Mullins, this wasn't an intentional deal, but we watched Mark Love get loose lap after lap after lap, and it could have been Mark Love just got a little squirrely and just caught a little bit of squirreliness there, and it made it look like James Mullins pulled up in him. I don't know.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you're racing for these really precious spots in the closing laps of a race. I mean, it's certainly almost every race actually here on iRacing with the late restart like that is going to end in that fashion. That's just hard racing on the final laps of the position. You really can't really pin on anybody. They're just doing what they think they're going to do. Nobody thinks about what the consequences are going to be. All they care about is getting those final positions. I know because I've been in that position myself more times than I can count, and I can say the same about every single person. If there's ever a driver that has not thought about the consequences when they're racing to the final laps of a race in any discipline, whether that be oval, road racing, dirt late model racing, rallycross, pro trucks, if they say they haven't had that happen to them, I can guarantee you right now they are 100% not telling the truth. I do wonder if we could get our race winner, Boyd Hogan, in here for a minute. I would certainly love to hear his thoughts on the whole issue.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get him up here and get a chat. I think right now they're just debriefing, and we'll get him in here and we'll see what's going on. I really do not want to speak with them all right now in the heat of the moment because we might hear some stuff that we really don't want to hear.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of those interesting factors that when it comes down to it, isn't it? You don't quite know what's going to be said. It's a bit of an interesting one, isn't it? So, well, it does look like the three drivers, the top three finishers, are ready. So, well, why don't we start bringing them on up? And, well, I'll let you start things off with Mr. Hogan.
Boyd Hogan, this is Al up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Boyd, what a race. You know, I sat here and I predict every move you were going to make, and you almost made me look like I was with your crew chief.
No kidding, eh?
That no tire stop and just for fuel, I told everybody, I says he's waiting for the next caution that's going to come out, and then he's going to get some tires, and then he's going to come through the field like a rocket. And what happened? Here come Boyd Hogan. The Bandit came right through the field, right to the lead again, and never left.
The Bandit. I like it.
How did we feel that race went? The end of the race was kind of exciting, and unfortunately you weren't involved in that to be able to commentate on what you've seen, but you've seen that from the rearview mirror, and that's all you need to worry about because you took the win.
Man, I wasn't looking in the mirror. That scares the hell out of me every time I do. So you gotta turn that off. No, it was a great race. I had a blast the first half for sure with James and Levine and Tanner. You know, it was a good race to start off. Then obviously, you know, James got into it with lap cars that were just kind of, you know, not racing the smartest, but you'll have that.
I've seen that. I've seen it as a lot of times they give you a lot of courtesy that, you know, they didn't have to do. I mean, they seen you had a faster car when you're coming from 13th to 1st in 2 laps. They definitely didn't have to do that, but they gave you a little courtesy and got you up there because they knew you had a rocket. So that was some pretty good racing there. We had more cautions than I thought we were going to have.
Yeah, Yeah, it was pretty green to start, and I mean that was a blast, honestly. Anytime I get a chance to race with James and Justin, and these guys is always a blast. Obviously a lot of respect for them. Um, but yeah, no, the car was hooked up, and lap cars were pretty cordial for the most part. Besides a couple that just choose to hold you up, but like I said, you'll have that. You got to deal with it in racing. It was a blast though. Appreciate you guys putting on the show. Everybody at Legacy, Team Slip Angle. We put together a rocket this week, and it was a lot of fun. It's, one of the best cars I've ever had for sure.
Well,
Just with
definitely made it look easy. They definitely made it look easy. So, congratulations on that win.
Appreciate it, man. I also want to thank Judd Danielson at Abruzzi. Like I said, everybody at Legacy, Rogue Energy, Butt Kicker, Austin Derbyshire. I finally got the paint situation sorted out, and yeah, just all my guys on Legacy. You guys for putting on the show. Steve and Katie for watching. Yeah, thank you guys.
Great job. Great job. And once again, it's been our pleasure talking to you, Boyd. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Let's see if we got our second place. Michael Knight, the Mystery Machine, worked his way up into second place. Michael, you got a copy?
I've got you.
Mike, you came out of nowhere. And all of a sudden ended up finishing second. What did that seem like to you?
I had to save that last set and hope I had a late call there. Just didn't have the car for a top 10 really, and saving that extra set of tires really paid off.
Yeah, I think that was a great strategy on your behalf there. You started 13th, finished second, and you finished fairly clean. All the cartage that went through that deal, you finished fairly clean.
Yeah, I tried to come through there as clean as I could. I knew they was on older tires. I seen they about gotten to the wall there, and just had to make an evasive move and miss it.
Yeah, that was quite the mess in the back. Were you in the midst of all that, or you were in front of that when that all took place at the last lap?
Yeah, I got in front of it there. I did see it in my rear view though.
That was a heck of a wreck there. You want to go ahead and thank some of those sponsors you got on that hot rod for second place?
Yeah, give a shout out to Trust Me Vodka for coming on with Gen X. I'd like to thank Gen X for the sets every week, and our Always on the Move Angie, our YouTube sponsor.
Gotcha, brother. Gotcha. And they put you up in there. All right, brother. All right. Congratulations again on that second place, and welcome to a podium.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Justin Levine, if you got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Justin Levine, the man, the machine. I thought you were going to get the win on this. Boyd Hogan, that was your challenge. I said, boy, I'm watching this, and Justin the Machine Levine is going to be able to get up in there and give Boyd something to talk about.
Man, I was trying. I made the car a little too loose on that last adjustment, and I gave him everything I had, just too loose at the end.
Boyd saves a lot. Boyd's a strategic driver. I mean, I've watched him many, many, many times, and he's very hard to beat. So coming in third is no small feat. You had a mountain to climb, and you climbed it, and you came in third. You started this thing third and finished exactly where you started.
Yeah, that car is so fast. Boyd and everybody at Lexi did an awesome job this week.
He might have put a little bit too much wax on it. That might have given the air benefit, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
You got any sponsors you want to say thanks to, Justin?
Yeah, I got Butt Kicker, Bruzy, Live Polar, Austin Darby with this awesome paint every week, pumping out awesome paints. And gotta thank you guys. Can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast.
It was amazing, brother. How'd that setup work? Did you build your own setups? Or you got somebody that does them for you?
I got Boyd and everybody at Legacy.
Boyd Hogan, the winner of the race, built your setup. No wonder you came in third. That's an amazing feat, and you drove it very well. Was able to stay clean, stay away from all the drama and the trouble. And James Mullins did a pretty good job coming in fourth, and he had a little bit of problems. Looks like somebody door dinged him, and he managed to still pull out a top four out of that. Well, I know you guys want to thank me, but I want to thank all you guys in the first, second, and third place for putting on one heck of a performance and making this look easy. Because God, I know this is not an easy track. So congratulations to our race winner, Boyd Hogan, in second place, Michael Knight, and third, Justin the Machine Levine. Congratulations, you guys, and I look forward to watching next week.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And that concludes our Las Vegas gambling race, and we watched as Boyd Hogan threw all the chips on the table and came out a winner. And you can't count out Michael Knight and Justin Levine because they didn't walk away empty-handed. And we will watch this again next week, and let's see if we can talk to the same three individuals next week. My name is Al Kozlowski, and my co-host tonight was Nolan Rempel. We will be talking to you again next week. Same time, same channel, same drivers, different track. More action to come. Stay tuned.